Mic check. Hi. We've finally reached the 4th album of Galneryus, which is called One for All for One. And as many people have suggested before, we're gonna listen to the intro song, which is usually instrumental, and then we're gonna move into the next track. And as it happens, the next track is a music video already. By the way, I've noticed that there is several music videos throughout the album. If anyone knows more about this, please let me know in the comments. I wouldn't want to miss one of those. So we're gonna listen to the intro track, the music video of today's song, New Legend, and after that we might read a few introductory comments in case there actually were comments of that sort. We have another record player here apparently. Woo! Oh. Okay, two things to start off with. First of all, we've started with the vinyl record. Reads to me as a direct continuation of the outro song of the preceding album, which makes the single in between with the two extra songs kind of feel like more or less an interlude, which of course makes sense. What's also fairly interesting is the aesthetic here. I think this is the first time we actually have some kind of, Wild West sound to it. The only other instance where I've noticed this was in the music video for The Reason We Fight, where there was this cowboy antagonist. But yeah, so far I'm really digging the sound, and I really appreciate the guitar sounds here especially, which make this Red Horizon really graspable in some sense. Especially those simple arpeggios which were just alternating had a really nice atmosphere about them. And a certain calmness because there is no other instruments. And here the steel string, I think. And we have this galloping Wild West feeling to it. Here, Yama B apparently playing around a bit with his voice. Whew. Oh, dude. That was such a cool build-up, and the way it picked up speed and additional layers were integrated. I really liked when the piano came in, and this is when this track turned into something rather inspiring sounding. Before, it had a certain calmness and melancholy to it, but after that, it morphed into a kind of spiral. Like this note. This is when it starts to feel grand, right? Also, there's a violin in the background playing really cool stuff. This is a really cool integration of the distortion guitar. This is really fun. Like, I can imagine this is also something they might sing together. At least Shu might be integrated. I think I hear his voice as well in this. I think this, so far, this is one of my favorite intro tracks, actually. Although they all were pretty good in their own right. Just the drive this gains is really cool, and the atmosphere about it. So what we're gonna try to do now is we're gonna listen to the last bit of this intro song and see how it might translate into the first track, New Legend. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, there's stillness in the beginning. Ooh. I think the vibes of the intro actually translated a bit into this song. It still has a bit of this red sky feeling to it, and it might be similar chords, but I'm not sure about that because I'm no expert. What I also liked was this chunky guitar tone Shu has here, and he's a lot of double picking and like playing tremolo again. Kind of reminds me of the very beginning, what he did in Struggle for the Freedom Flag, which brings a bit of chaos back into the equation, which is pretty cool. And the video is very energetic with the camera movement and stuff. Yo! Yeah, like you feel in the second part of the chorus how they integrated those emotional elements back to it. But it's also cool how that progressed, because it was just this short section which felt really anime, almost nostalgic in a kind of way, and it has still this dawning horizon vibes to it. But it then has a really tasteful transition also back into the sound of the beginning, which is a bit more scratchy, dark, chaotic, and has a certain post-rock melancholic friction to it. I don't know how to put it into words in a better way, but this transition was pretty cool. That's when it starts to get emotional. And this transition here. And how this high note transitions back into the beginning. almost reminds me a bit of Silent Revelation, where they had this bit of dark and twisted nastiness in the guitar in the background. They have this very prominent lick they're playing here. This ascending and descending thing. Whoa! The screams in the background also, that's so cool, dude. They've integrated a lot of dynamic stuff here, and the vocals also in the instrumentation here. One thing I can say about the video is I think I can't say stage presence because it's obviously, the stage is a music video here, but I think it has matured a bit. It still has this cheesiness about it, what you would expect in this kind of music, in this kind of scene, but it doesn't feel as awkward anymore. It feels a bit more confident than in the very beginning, although in the beginning they were pretty good as well already, to be fair. We also had a tongue sticking out in the beginning. I don't know, that's something they always seem to do at some point, just to show that the music can actually be took very seriously, but there's still an element of fun behind all of this. Aside from that, I really would like to outline a bit more the atmosphere of the song because it's pretty cool and it moves very fast, but I think we have to listen to the chorus at least for that again, which is I think it's a pretty solid chorus. I would say it's not one of the best choruses I've ever heard from Galneryus, but it's a pretty good one. This group chant in the beginning works very well as a transition. It fires you up with energy. You already have this very emotionally charged wah guitar in the background in the very beginning of the chorus. So usually they're not starting with this, but they're ending off. But we already have this very moody aesthetic from the very beginnings. I think I said something like emotional, post-rock-like melancholy. Interpret that as you may. You have this duality here. I think that's the first song where they've actually done something like this. We have Yamabi kind of screaming out his heart to the sky almost, right? And in the background, we have Shu mirroring this with his demonic screaming, which it's not in the foreground. It's rather something just below it, almost like a light and shadow theme. And it's screaming like really good. You also see how they have this constant spiral theme. They're spiraling around all the time, and sometimes it gets faster and slower. The wheel starts to turn again, theme in it. It also reflects in the guitar licks in the background. And straight into the solo. Oh shit! That's... Yo, I remember the solo. and back into the beginning. I remember this solo. This is like a pretty cool one. They tend to go a bit noisy in the beginning. I'm seeing kind of a few parallels here to Struggle for the Freedom Flag, the very first song, where they started with this chaotic storm theme. They had this stuff I call atmospheric noise. We had first this really cool bass solo, and then we went into the keyboard, which made this pretty much just shredding over this battle mode aesthetic, but it created a certain atmosphere about it, which was pretty similar. So you see they're trying to create a sort of chaotic storm from which the new story can emerge. And then interestingly enough, when it comes to the guitar, it starts to get structure again. We have this galloping section, and then in the very end we just had this neoclassical tremolo section, which I think is actually rather iconic for Galneryus. I might be wrong with that, but it's pretty memorable, although it's a rather simple idea. I think we're gonna listen to the solo again from the bass part and then just move on. And the noise in the background from the guitar. Yuki hit it. Yeah, this feels like a very satisfying culmination of all of this. But it's still very melancholic, you know? Fun fact, I tried to play the solo once and someone heard it and asked me if I was okay or if I was sad about something. I also think the faces they make. Maybe I can find it. I mean, what the frig is that, man? I just like how the second guitar frees up in the transition to the chorus here. We're going from this sort of dark tension to gliding through this open red sky. That's a very cool contrast. Just opening up here. Spinning again here. That was a very cool image how they pose together here while singing at the same time. Like here. Oh. This pose. I was kind of raising up to the sky again. So we have this theme as well. I also liked how they stayed true to those archetypes they have set out to do. You know, Yamabi is this rather strong warrior kind of type in the context of the music, and Shu has a rather softer quality to him. And this also reflects in how they're posing here in the videos. Shu has this like relaxed, laid back thing, and Yamabi has always these, you know, strong poses and strong stances and stuff. And this victory pose here. That's just a very cool introduction, and in some sense it feels fresh, you know. I cannot say that they're just repeating stuff, and of course it would be terrible if we would listen to the first song of this new legend, how they call it, if it already sounded like something they've done before. But as I said, you still recognize that it has parallels to Struggle for the Freedom Flag, this chaotic introduction they had. I really appreciate how they balanced all of this. And also the music video is a pretty cool addition. And to be honest, like conceptually, you have some interesting concepts. You have the spinning, you have these fast cuts, and these screens with the red and blue stuff where the members switch through. I think it was also utilized in a pretty cool way. We can just take a peek into that because when Shu and Yamabi alternated singing, this was also sometimes reflected here. Yeah, you have seen, first of all, it was just Yamabi who sometimes appeared, but then with a scream, Shu came in here. And just the way this alternated was pretty smart, and it felt handpicked. It didn't feel random, you know. It supported the sound really well. And also this transition when we started on Shu's mouth here. And with the zoom out, and then this pose. Those are just some things which are pretty badass and support the music very well, you know. I think aesthetically, we didn't work with many symbols or fantasy-themed stuff here. In that regard, I think the other videos were more charged, but still, it's actually a pretty cool video. And yeah, I like the mood they're going for here, and I think this is something which will reappear throughout the album again. I call it post-rock aesthetic. I'm not sure if it actually is the right term for that, but I think it's something which was somewhat popular in the 2000s in Japan as well. You also see it in certain anime soundtracks, like Death Note, for example. There are certain rock soundtracks which have a similar, I don't even know how to describe it. It's a certain swelling melancholy. But I think you can easily see it when just listening to the song here. Pretty cool. So I'm very excited for the upcoming songs. By the way, now that I'm thinking about it, because we've listened to the music video, we haven't really talked about the album cover at this point. We can do that in the next episode. I think what we're gonna do now is just to take a look at the lyrics. New Legend by Galneryus. Hear the voice of the world, time is calling me. I will see the new legend in the heat. I'm searching for the break in the moonlight, trying to escape the dark, it's my mission. Can't you see? I feel a hunger burning deep inside. I'm a devil fighting with my spells. My voice will take me to the sky. I don't know if there's just my unconscious or subconscious picking up stuff from the lyrics I usually don't understand, because it's not very clearly understandable English when they're singing it, but there's just a lot of stuff we've heard in the music, right? Like, I can't be the only one. This is just a very good match between the words they've chosen here and what they've actually manifested through the sounds of the music. There is a new call, which we have also heard, like in the intro song. I think this Wild West inspirational sound they went for seem to resemble this in a kind of way. And then we have a lot of stuff with heat. You know, we have heat here, and we have feel a hunger burning deep inside. With this guitar sound and this swelling licks Shu played in the background, we can totally hear that. I'm searching for the break in the moonlight, trying to escape the dark, it's my mission. Again, there were some wicked dark guitar licks Shu played in the background during the verse. The same thing was with his screaming vocals. It was almost like it was placed below in the shadows. Can't you see? Feel a hunger burning deep inside. That's a very good expression, I think, of this swelling a melancholy almost I tried to outline before. I'm a devil fighting with my spells. Here, this duality aspect we have in the chorus when Shu and Yamabi are singing together, and my voice will take me to the sky, this rising up to the sky. Several sections, as I've outlined in the song, sound like that. I must win through this cruel game. I will see the new legend in the heat. Do you have the means of keeping your life? Trying to escape the dark, it's my mission. There are some provisional considerations. Do you have the means of keeping your life? I must win through this game. What will happen? We won't know until we've tried out. I will see the new legend in the heat. We almost have this Phoenix theme already here. I think there's a later album in the show era, which actually is called Phoenix Rising, right? It's something with the Phoenix. You can almost see this new legend arising from fire. And just taking a look at just the color of this album cover, right? We have this like very strong orange sun feeling to it. And I think this matches very well with this aesthetic here. Can't you see? Feel a hunger burning deep inside. I'm a devil fighting with my spells. My voice will take me to the sky. Break out. And I think this is also maybe why there's this chaos. There's just something kept inside at this point, and it has to break out. And it's this pressure building up, right? Which makes stuff spin and chaotic and all of that. Almost like something is boiling or whatever. It's about to burst. And this is the chorus, and I think that's basically it. At least according to this lyric side here. Now the time has come again, bringing me back my life again. Listen closely, it's all around. The way to make me free. Now the time has come again, bring me back my life again. Take the saber that is by your side. Run through the fields of rage. And that's very cool how that connects also to the preceding album where there was a lot with fire and burning emotion and also rage in the beginning. You remember in Shriek of the Vengeance where they sang about they were approaching the sea of rage and stuff, and a lot of vocals there also resembled this kind of emotion. That's just like a very cool thing to reopen this. You know, we had our closure, the story is over, but I was kind of dead. And now it's time to go for the new journey, bringing me back to life again. The way to make me free, you know, the only way to freedom is actually to go on and not just to rest on the past closure of a time gone by. And yeah, it's like very minimalist in that sense with this fantasy imagery. You know, I'm a devil fighting with my spells. That could be a metaphor. Of course, like take the saber that's by your side. That could also be a metaphor. But this is like the actual only thing which is described happening, which still has this, you know, fantasy drenched aesthetic in a kind of way. Take the saber and run through the fields of rage. So gonna be interested in how this will continue and how their storytelling will develop further on. I'm really excited for this album. There's just very cool songs. It's a cool aesthetic. And yeah, so far it just seems they're getting better and better. So thanks for watching and listening. And yeah, tell me about your experience with this album or with this song. And in case you're interested in listening to The Night Craver, I would say tune in next week.